of silence. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, we got, what, minutes to approve?
Yes,
10, 20?
there's three sets.
By the way, you're recording this meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got, yeah. It is
Two
being
sets
recorded.
of meetings, what, 10, 2, and? what's
14.
that?
The 14 was the JOAC, after the
Oh.
JOAC meeting. She just forgot to put that on there. The 10-2 was the public hearing, and then your regular meeting came after that. And then you had your JOAC meetings. So there were three minutes.
Anybody want to make a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion for all of them?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve all minutes.
Do we have a second? Do I have a second? No?
She wasn't here.
Oh. I guess I'll have to second it. All right, all in favor say aye.
Oh,
I will abstain since I wasn't here.
All right,
For your second
okay.
meeting.
Okay. All right, we got a visitor, Mr. Beamer. You're on.
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, I don't know how much time I have. I didn't expect to be here again addressing what happened in October, but got the call from tenant saying the alarm was going off. I'm at work, and I'm thinking, you're kidding. I said, hopefully it's just a malfunction. Get to the site. I opened up the thing. I thought maybe I reset the button underneath it, thinking it's going to, the lights go off, but it came back on. I called Sam.
Yeah.
Sam Monks.
Sam filled us in a bit on your problem down there.
Yeah, I asked Sam.
Somebody's not doing something right down there.
Well, but I wanted to ask Sam a question. I was hoping he's gonna be here. That's my first
He's not
question.
here.
Okay. Here's why. When the alarm went off, he said, let me call Mr. Lanker, Kim Lanker, he'll come out. He came out, he pulls the two, comes out, he brings two new pumps with him, pulls the old pumps out.
Yeah.
And I noticed there was some buildup on the sides of both of the pumps. Now, one of them was working, actually. Even Kim said that. We were in there, and he said, I can hear one of them working. But he pulled them out, and I don't have knowledge of this stuff, but when he pulled it out, they were both laid on the ground. Sam came then, so I said, oh, there's stuff down in there still. There was a bunch of floating grease balls or whatever. And it looked like there was quite a bit. So he said, look at the grease down in there. There's still grease in there yet. And I said, yeah, I see that. I said, you know what, here's where my issue might be with this. But whenever that happened, my question to Sam was agreeing that there was grease in there. I called Baker's. What Mr. Lanker did, let me not get ahead of myself because I get kind of fast when I talk. Mr. Lanker pulls that out and he puts the two new ones back in with all that stuff still in there. They were floating, the balls, they were still, and this is a picture of what I took. And I don't know if you might have seen these anyways, there was pictures in there.
No, I didn't see any pictures.
Okay, there's pictures of what these look like in there. And then this was one of the pumps that looked pretty clean. And there wasn't that much, you can't see it that much. The top of it looks pretty clean, the blade's clean, and all this is clean. And he said one of them was working. But he pulls it out and puts the other two grinder pumps right in it. And I said, oh, if I would have known how this works, I would have had cleaned this out. Because last time they called Walters. And I said, oh, guys, I would have called someone to have them suck all that out. I said, how do you know that stuff wasn't in there the way it was? So I did some calling. I talked to Walters about the last time they were there in December when they came out. And the gentleman explained to me that when they got a call up there, they charged me $209 just to put their vac in there, just to clean out whatever liquids in there, all the loose stuff that's just there.
Okay.
They don't get into cleaning like the sides where all the buildup was. And then they did the jetting into the lines, and then they had to do the extra time for the charge was jetting the lines and cleaning it out. But I asked him, well, can you give me the document or any report, like log sheet of what scope of work or details you guys did at that site, because I wanted to know with the tank. And he said, well, we don't go in and clean out the sides or anything. So I said, so there could have been leftover grease that's still in there from back in December. He said, well, there could have been, but we weren't told to clean the whole tank out, just to suck out the vacuum there. Here's where I'm going with my point, and this is where I was wanting to ask Sam. There was buildup still on those grinder pumps. One of them was working. And the reason why I say this, when he pulled out when I had bakers come there, it was 2 weeks after it happened, there was buildup starting on the grinder pumps, because when he put these new ones down in there, they were still building up. In 2 weeks, they were building up on the new ones that were already there. So I took the garden hose and I hosed off, and it cleaned right off. Everything was coming off. I had the garden hose and I was down in the tank, because Baker was in there cleaning out whatever was loose. As I was spraying and I was cleaning along the edge, it was just falling off and cleaning up, and he was sucking. I got it completely clean where nothing else is in there. And now, I mean, I'm going to get the bill, which is fine. I got to pay Bakers for coming out for cleaning it, which is $200. But I cleaned all that out. And the point that I'm making here, and I was trying to tell Sam, I think Sam Walters didn't actually clean the tank thoroughly. When they cleaned that out, there was leftover grease in there. I can't imagine 9 months from December. And one of the guys from Lanker even said to me, I asked him, 9 months' time, there was buildup, still a lot in there. And I asked him, could there be that much grease in there? And he goes, 9 months, that's a lot of grease for building up that much. That's a lot in 9 months, going through the winter, whatever, and all that was built up. I talked to my tenants again just to make sure, and every single one of them, I talked to them. They said, you already told us, we pour the grease in a can and we throw it out. You already told us not to flush baby wipes, and I don't flush baby wipes. And whether they do, maybe they did the first incident that happened. But the second incident, they told me they don't pour grease down there anymore. They were aware of it. And I don't know where to go with this, other than I'm thinking the grease buildup was left over in there, and that's why for 9 months, whatever Walters did when they just used the vacuum to clean out all that stuff, the stuff was still left in there because it fell right off, and the guy from Baker even saw that out there. I hosed it, and it was floating, and it was breaking also.
So what do you want?
Well, here's what I want to ask you, Elmer. I mean, you guys, I'm not trying to I'm not here, I just can't believe it. I was telling my wife, I can't believe this happened in 9 months. But I know
May I say something?
Sure, absolutely.
If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Ox had Walters come back for a second day. They reached down in there with a big paddle wheel. They broke the paddles on the wheel because the impact of the stuff was that bad. They couldn't clean it up. When the line had to be dug up, repaired, flushed out, everything else, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Ox said they cleaned that well.
No, what happened, you're right, they used the thing to break down what was floating because it was real big.
Plus the
But
sidewalls.
they didn't clean the...
Plus the sidewalls. He told me he broke the impeller and everything else, and they had a lot of work. He said they never had seen nothing like that. So on my behalf, from what I'm listening to what Mr. Ox had told us from the previous time, I may be wrong, but I do believe that it was cleaned out.
Yeah, no, I
cannot believe that Mr. Ox would allow something like that to occur in that situation,
Well, maybe-
knowing the way the system operates.
Okay, can I ask you a question then?
Yes.
Whenever he came again, Mr. Ranker, he pulled the 2 out, and all that was still left in there. Why would he do it that time? Just recently, in October. And I said, oh, I didn't even know all that stuff.
Hang on.
Okay.
Because Mr. Ox, was Mr. Ox there?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were all there. They were there. I couldn't, they're telling me I can't do anything unless I call Sam or they have to be there. I can't touch anything. It's not my pumps. It's not my, I don't know, man. I'm kind of
We can make them your pumps.
Well, I don't have a problem. I know how to do it. I mean, I know if you lift up those release things so all the flush thing doesn't. And from here going forward, I told Bakers I'm going to call them in June. I want to get them out there again to see what's going on because I'm on top of this thing. It's just, I think I got blindsided by that stuff probably could have been left in there. I mean, I just, it was just extreme expense with all. I don't want to do this for a living, but what I'm asking you is, I know you sent me this letter for the first incident saying that they would, this will be your first and final warning, and I know it didn't. It was a big expense with Walters coming out, but I'm asking if you can honor this letter for this incident because I just think the buildup was left in there along the side. I appreciate what you're saying, but all I could say is Niles and down there, they said they didn't clean that the way it is. Even the guy from Lanker told me that.
I cannot believe that from our field representative.
Yeah.
okay?
Well, I wouldn't make it up or not. I mean, I know Sam wouldn't make, he's not making it up or wouldn't.
So what are you asking for?
Well, I was asking if you'd waive it on this, because it's just, just going over this again. I'm not trying to hear or fight anything, but I believe that there was leftover grease that's significant along the perimeter of the, because Walters told me they wouldn't clean. I asked for a copy of it from Linda, Karen Reinhardt. She could give me a copy of like the details, and the guy Sean at Walters couldn't said, we can't release it to you because the township has to release what we did, but if we charge you $209, all we did was clean out what was floating there.
So you're asking us to pay for your repairs, is that what you're asking?
I mean, and then going forward, I'll just take ownership of it. I was asking that, yes.
Yeah,
because-
well, I think we'd be willing to turn over the ownership to you.
Well, the only reason that, I'm in the rest of the board, I'm just saying, Lanker comes out there and Mr. Lanker drops them in, and then he says, here, I make $5,000 off you guys, and then you
Well,
pass
how
on.
about we turn ownership of all your grinder pumps to you?
I mean, I could do that. It's not difficult
No.
to do it. You mean, it's you clean them out. The only thing is, I guess the grinder.
Somebody want to make a motion?
And I have a question
Can I ask
too.
a question?
Before you make a motion
Did you get
to,
any grant monies for that system down there?
Did we get grant monies? Not that I'm aware of.
No,
No?
no, there's no grant money.
I had a question too, if you don't mind me asking that too. And then
Yeah, you
Keep
can.
going.
Good.
Where I work with attorneys and all. A guy gave me a copy of an article, and I forgot what it was. His son. They were for 10 years. They've been maintaining, and they service, and every so often, every year, they go and maintain the grinder pumps. I have the article at home or on email, and they service in the town, the municipality there, and they go in there to make sure. Isn't there some kind of an agreement or contract that as homeowners that? Is there any time that the township municipality sends someone out, like a worker to come out there and look at them or review them or to make sure they're functioning properly? Or like, I don't know, once a year to say, hey, Mr. Beamer, you own these, but you've got some buildup, you need to take care of this thing, there could be a problem here. Is there any kind of like
If we turn them over to you, that's your responsibility then.
Yeah. Oh, no, I know, but I was just saying all the incidents that happened, isn't there some kind of, we bought that, my wife and I, in 07, and they were putting there, what, in 04? 2004, I think, they were putting there. So from 2007, though, when we owned, to 2012 is a long period, that's the first time that happened in 9 months. I just can't imagine that much grease got in there, and that's what the guy said, yeah, that's a lot, I don't know. And that's what Walters, I'm thinking, they just didn't actually clean it as thoroughly. I was in there hosing the edge, and everything went down in here, and the guy kept sucking it as it was floating. But I just don't imagine, and you're right, they did use a blade, but he was telling me they just pushed down what was floating, the bigger pieces.
But they had to do it, they had to break it up because it's caked on that high, the pumps couldn't even pick up anything or suck it around. It was encased and embedded around the pumps, it had to be cleaned out.
Yeah.
The pumps were not gonna function.
I mean, and one of them was running, and I saw the blade, I showed you a picture, the blades were like clean, and I said, the one that didn't look that bad, and I don't know if Lanker goes back and cleans them and wipes them off and gets them all clean, and then he'll send parts laying on the floor or somewhere from another grinder pump or not and say, we had to rebuild this one. And I never see anything in no pictures. But let me ask you, when you say own them, if I own those, then...
If that thing was pumping, then my arm would not have been worn off.
Yeah, I'm not saying one of them did go off. They did go off the pump because what was left over from December clogged them up again. That was still in the tank, and it must have been falling off a little. I wish I could
I
just...
do not believe that I do not believe that. There was just too much discussion about what went on with your experience that we had at that time and the concerns that we were gonna have again. And those concerns are still there, okay? Everybody's saying it's grease. It may not be grease. It may be excessive detergent. It could be excessive of anything. Excess of something that's not normally dumped in there can cause these troubles. It's not just grease. Soap will cake things up just as bad and as heavy as anything else. Okay? So grease is just one part of this factor. Everything else that comes down here, somebody's got dishwasher machines and everything in there. Somebody's
there's
dumping
no-
twice as much.
There's just one washing machine. That's it.
Somebody overloads that in
Yeah,
there,
and they
somebody
use-
dumps a bunch of bubble bath soap or something in there, or granular soap down it, or anything like that, all that stuff can be, have you had any problem with clogged drains?
No, nothing like that ever. That's what I mean. It's kind of weird, and it's not happening to the other ones. I mean, it is happening there. Kristen, the live right there at 1435, she has one washer and that's it. And that, I mean, it can't. That's quite a bit for that to stop the grinder pump from working. You know, it's the only reason why I don't know. I don't know, but that's why I'm gonna have Bakers go back out again. I just want to keep on top of it because it's cheaper for me to spend $200 than
Yours is the only one that seems to be a problem like this.
Yeah,
They've never had a wet well that's caused this problem before.
Well, I was just thinking, that's why there was leftover grease in there from December that Walters didn't actually do a thorough cleaning on. I'm not asking him to, but I'm thinking that's why in 9 months it went off again. And
You have a
got,
grease trap in your line going out to the pump?
no, there's no grease trap at all. Sam was saying about putting grease traps underneath all the sinks or whatever. I told them when I talked to them,
Structure may be cheaper for you than having come in every 3 months and clean that instead of the grinder pump.
well, I was thinking I was checking on their favors and that, it's not, I mean, it's worth doing at favors. The grease traps under the sink, it's,
Never cheaper. If your tenants aren't gonna work with you, then, you know.
well, how does it work? Let's say the pump, I have ownership of them, and I check them, I go in there, get Bakers, pull them out, I clean them off. How does it work if I have to purchase one of those? You have to buy them from Lanker, or do you have to, can I fix them myself, or how does it work, like thinking ahead?
You would end up dealing with whoever you wish to deal with, that would end up being the one distributor, vendor, maintenance
And we'll
person, which in this area, closest one is Lanker. Okay? Not to say that there ain't other ones around, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But Lanker, you're basically gonna end up probably 9 times out of 10 dealing directly with him instead of us.
Well, right now, I can tell you, I clean those thoroughly. I mean, you can see the black everywhere in the tank. It's just completely clean. There's no way that's gonna happen again. I just think there was leftover buildup from, and there was quite a bit in there. That was still, for 9 months, it's almost impossible to, and they told me they weren't down there anymore. I don't know where else to go with it. Now, what's his name pulled out one baby white, and I'm gonna tell you, he pulled out one white floating there still.
All right.
They don't do it, I just don't know.
What's the best solution here? Turn the pumps over to Mr. Beamer.
Yeah, but that's not the main concern he wants right now. That's a secondary criteria here. He wants us to waive some of his expenses.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I was asking, wait, I don't wanna pay the expense and have ownership, and then I don't mind the ownership, I'm fine. Is this gonna cause a problem with other residents? I mean, with me doing it, or is that?
No.
Is that why you're asking? Oh, okay.
No, I think if I'm not mistaken, we have things out there as new ownership takes over, they take possession of and responsibility of the grinder pumps.
That's very good.
On new
Those are
ownership.
the new ones, but you got Penn monies for the old ones, so you may wanna check on the implications of that.
And plus, is there a warranty on these at all?
You really
That's-
ask?
I'd have to take a look at that and see if there's any issue.
what would the issue be? I don't understand why that would be an issue.
They gave you money or loaned you money, and
But
now
what's
you're
the
giving it
condition?
away.
What's the case?
No, we're not.
We're not giving it away.
The grinder pumps are paid for.
He's just taking
Well,
responsibility
The
for it.
original system, they loaned you money.
Yes. But the grinder pumps are paid for.
That was part of the package that they gave you money for. It's worth a check, just so you don't get a bind. Just so you don't get combined, that's all.
And I was gonna say, there's like no warranty on these that the township has, right? Like a warranty they got when they first got these pumps?
I'm sure it's long expired.
That's wrong.
That's fine, okay.
Yep.
There was a 10-year warranty, I was reading in that article that they had like a warranty, but they go out and they maintain them and maintenance them, and I didn't know if the township, because I've never seen anyone ask me, hey, you got these grinder pumps, is we have a written agreement or contractual agreement with each resident that has grinder pumps.
Very seldom we had a problem with the exception of baby wipes or some other foreign object being put in these systems. I can honestly say that this, for my optimist outlook of this thing, they've been very, very maintenance-free, surprisingly, okay? With the exception of issues like yours, baby wipes, and other subjects that get put in there that are not permitted to get through the system. So,
Yeah, that was in December, and it did happen, I can't turn that back at all, I mean, I'm not denying it. You know.
All right, we're gonna check on the issue of whether we can turn these over. I think we can, but the other issue is, are we gonna give him any reimbursement for,
I think our
expenses?
ordinance is pretty well takes it cut and dry, the way the situation is. I think we gave enough break the last time,
so the answer is no then?
in my opinion.
Okay, that's
I
it.
mean, I don't know what, that's just my opinion. That's
Well-
all, you gotta discuss that with the rest of the board. I think it's only fair. Don't put my word out there as the gospel.
Well, there's only 3 of us tonight, so whatever we decide, he wants a decision.
Yeah, I get a question, I didn't know, I mean, you know, what is like the appeal process of anything? Like, is there, like, I work with the labor and industry, and we deal with first responders, always like in order to show cause. We go through all the litigations or whatever, but there's always a step that you can appeal process. Is there anything that, as people in the public can appeal to anything, or just, I mean, I just believe that what Walter's telling me, but I wanted to get a copy of that, also a copy of the agreement. I never got any contractual agreement, and I just, you know, it's just, I already just kicked out, with all my charge cards maxed out, I just paid like $4,200 for the last one on payments, and, I mean, is there anything that, because I can tell you if it happens again, I'll put it inside a paper that I'll pay for it, that I'll know it did something wrong, if it's agreed, built up on it. I mean,
Yeah, there's no
There's no-
internal appeal process that I'm aware of.
I mean, there's nothing that people do, like, it's just a decision, and that's what I didn't know.
Well, it's a
we're very generous on the first issue, the first problem. And then there's the first problem, then it's a non-problem. It's an individual dilemma, you know what I'm saying? It's not, I mean, this could happen 6 months from now again. Just due to your, I mean, you may say, yeah, I'm gonna get somebody to come in on June, and it may quit by May.
Well, and that's why I was saying, I know what Sam told you, and that's why I was saying there was still build up on those in 2 weeks' time. And they were brand new going in there. That's why I wanted to do it with Baker's and I wanted to see what will happen with what was in there. And it was building up from what they left in there. It was already building up on the grinder pumps. And that's what I was saying, when Sam did, asked him, didn't.
Well, then that's a sign that there's something not supposed to be going into the system.
No, I mean, it's still
it's
floating in there. I showed the pictures. That's all I was showing. They're still floating in there. I mean,
Well, what you're asking is for the rest of the customers to be paying for your problem, and I really don't think that's appropriate. That's my personal opinion right now.
yeah. Well, I wasn't trying to take it in that direction, you know, but I know.
That's what it amounts to, so.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wish to take these grinder pumps over, we can either do that now, or we can wait till we have a full board, or you can come back, or whatever you wish to do in regards to that. Am I right, Alan?
You wanted me to take a look
Yeah.
at that first?
Yeah, I want to take it there first, so we'll have to wait for, another board meeting. Okay?
Just come back another time.
Yep. Okay, the engineer's report.
Nope, you have more visitors, sorry.
Oh, we do?
Well, certainly, Mr. Schaefer.
Oh, I thought they were just here to.
Well, but
Just here for a good time.
two of them
Yeah,
I
we
know
just
are
looked
here
at it
for a
already.
good time, but there's a young lady who's never she's not gonna come in here for a good time.
Okay.
So, Mr. Johnson,
Nothing did come to you, and I haven't.
Lynn,
What?
you're up.
Am I supposed to say something? No, I actually don't even live in Penn Township, but I'm actually here in my son's behalf, just to find out what I have to do with, what they have to do. Their house keeps getting flooded, so there's pipes in the back, and we just don't know what's going on. So I just thought I was just gonna come and just see what goes on here, that's all. So he lives on Butcher Shop Road,
Dave Horvath,
Dave,
in Jones's old house,
John Jones.
where the roads come in, where the right of way comes down Butcher Shop from Shadows up at the top of the
There's a
hill.
house on the other side of the road over against the creek.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a creek, and he's got a creek in the back and a creek in
On the
the
lower
front,
side.
and they've actually, since they moved in there 6 years ago, they've had the basement flooded twice already, so. I just was coming to see what was going on, I didn't know if there was anything that could be done.
Was it flooded by the sewer or
No, it's water,
rainwater?
it's water.
Well,
But there's an open pipe in the backyard. See, I wasn't expecting you to say.
You mean
anything.
surface drainage water, Connie? Stormwater?
where's the water coming from?
We don't know. There is a pipe on the upper side of his house in the back, and then there's the creek, and there's no pipe from that end to this end, so it comes right into their backyard.
Let Sam take a look at it.
And I was just curious to see
Yeah,
what.
we've gone through this before. We just need to find the letters. This has been researched. There was some kind of a deal where it wasn't our right of way. You researched that business. That it wasn't coming down through our right of way.
What's the name of the property?
It was Dave Harvath. Harvath.
Oh, so somebody already.
I vaguely remember.
He's received letters from us before on that. It's been researched, Lynn. I just,
Oh, okay, yeah. No, but it's like, somebody put pipes in there one time, and there's no pipe in between the upper part of their property and where it goes into the creek. They just kind of built a little.
Is it on his property where he could put the pipe? Or-
It's on his property,
I mean, he could put the pipe in and to redirect the water or not?
possibly. I don't
I
know.
don't
I mean, I would think that they could do something to bring it from one spot to another. Do you know? You're shaking your head. Do you know?
Somebody should look at it, that's all.
Yeah.
Can't sit here and
I think
figure out
Sam,
where the
Yeah,
water's
I-
going.
yeah, I think Sam may even be familiar with
Okay.
it. And I can't remember what I looked at, but Sam might remember all that.
Well, we can always get back to you then.
Okay, and I was just curious. I just wanted to come and listen to what was going on with this meeting, so I didn't expect you even have to say anything, so.
Nah.
I was just curious, that's all. I'm tired of fixing the basement.
Okay, anybody else? All right, engineers report.
All right. All right, are you all in possession of my report that I had sent out? I don't know, did you all have, receive a copy of that? Okay. The Market Street Bridge Force Main project, PennDOT is requiring that the authority sign the project plans and the plans be submitted to be incorporated into the construction contract documents. I had given you those prior to the meeting, you signed those, so what I will do as of tomorrow, I'll drop them off to Tim Bolden at Gibson Thomas so he can incorporate those into the plan as he requested. So we got that. The low pressure sewer extension projects, bids were received by the authority on October 7th. Detralia Excavating was the lowest bidder. Detralia has submitted signed agreements and bonds and is still finalizing certificates of insurance. As of about 11:15 this morning, I did receive the finalized certificate of insurance that I was requesting. They have it different in that they have their workman's compensation covered under a separate policy through the Department of Labor and Industry. So I did receive that today. I do have the agreements here.
Can I ask a question? How many bidders did you get and what was the amount of the low bid?
We got 4 bidders,
Okay.
and the low bid was $33,300.
39.
Or excuse me, $39,334, I
How's that
believe.
compare with your estimate?
Our estimate was $44,000. So I have the agreements here for them to be signed and dated. So if I can just, they'll need to be attested.
okay, what's this agreement called?
This is the low pressure sewer extension agreement between Detralia Excavating Incorporated and the Penn Township Municipal Authority.
It's the construction contract.
Yeah, it's the $39,334.00.
So they have to be signed by,
By you or by an authority member, I would assume, being the chairman, that you're probably going to sign this.
does it have to be reviewed by Dennis or not?
It's the contract, the agreement that was in the documents, but.
Yeah, I think I had seen
Yeah,
the
yeah.
document forms.
Right.
Okay.
Did the board already approve this?
At the JOAC
Okay,
meeting,
That's what I was getting at earlier, yeah, I think
You have the-
that was my understanding as
to
well.
accept the lowest responsible bid award and award it in the amount of $39,334.
Yep.
Well, but it didn't authorize execution of the agreement. construction agreement? It wouldn't hurt to do that.
That wasn't the wording that I had
Yeah.
used, no, it
Okay.
was to accept the lowest responsible bid and award the contract to.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to
Right.
cover it with a motion to approve the execution of the agreement.
So you need a motion now?
I would suggest it.
Give me the wording for that.
It would be a motion to approve and authorize the appropriate officers to execute the construction agreement with, who is it,
Detralia Excavating Incorporated.
in the amount of whatever the contract sum is.
It's spelled Detraglia, but they say Detralia for whatever.
Geez, soft.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna date this the 11th, or the 6th day of November 2013, okay? So if you can sign, here, I'm gonna put your title down and then we'll need somebody to attest to that.
Let me sign this out.
Right here, so it's 5 and 10, right here. And put your time.
Do you want to test it?
Probably should be either the secretary or the assistant, if either is here.
Henny's the
Penny's-
secretary.
Okay, then.
Yeah, just want to be testing.
All right.
Right beside it.
Right, to the left there.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
There's 4 of them, so,
Send that over, please. Is there 4 of them?
yeah. This is loose. He didn't staple this one for whatever reason. Thank you.
All right, there's 2 more.
Okay, so that's yours. Okay. Thank you. So what I'll do is I'm gonna need to get also the bid bonds in regards to, so I can issue the notice of award, notice of intent to, or notice to award and notice to proceed. And then I'll need to return the bid bonds for those bidders who were unsuccessful ones.
So we have the bid bonds.
Yes, I think everything was returned to this office.
Yeah, I would have sent them up here.
Yeah,
Okay. Tell you what, if you call Karen tomorrow,
yeah.
Yeah,
Are you gonna be in Friday?
no,
Okay.
unless you need me to be.
Well, I don't wanna make,
I'm
yeah.
going down to my mother's, so.
Okay, not a problem. I wanted to get with you and.
I know, and that's one thing, you maybe next week.
All right, so we have that executed, so I'll issue notice to award, notice to proceed, and then we'll try to set up a pre-construction conference and then have him proceed as soon as possible once shop drawings are reviewed and approved, okay? And again, I noted here that the shop drawings initially were submitted, but they were incomplete, so we returned them. And again, we'll schedule the pre-construction conference. And then when he does proceed, we're going to install the low-pressure sewer, the 2-inch low-pressure sewer extension coming up along 15 there. And then we'll have the second phase as the first phase. The second phase will then be the Ellenberger property coming across with a 3-inch tying into the school, the manhole there on Schoolhouse Road.
What's gonna happen to that cleanup in the middle field?
Well, you told me you didn't want it there, so we never really did finally decide, but I assumed we were deleting it, and then that would be deleted from the contract. So there will be a deduct in the amount that was submitted for the clean out for that work. Okay?
It's gonna be a nightmare, they'll have that tore up.
Yeah.
That's right in the middle of a farmer's field, I guarantee you, don't matter how high the corn is, you'll have to put a flagpole up there for somebody not to run over it.
So I'm thinking the projected start date might be within the next 1 to 2 weeks. And I did put a call into him to find out what the status of the shop drawings were. He did not return my call, unfortunately. Okay.
So we should be pretty far along, don't forget, Thanksgiving, hunting season.
Right. Well, what I'm worried about is on work along the Penn right of way there. We do have some shoulder restoration, and I will have to notify him. He has to contact PennDOT, but hopefully PennDOT will allow him to use cold patch in that area to stabilize that area until he comes for the final. Yeah, because you still need that 90 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that up to him. All right, Sunshine Hills Water Treatment and Storage. What we're going to need to do is schedule a site visit. We had one scheduled for last week, and with the rain, and I guess with Sam having, I guess, their family member issues, we canceled that, and we were hoping to do that this week. And I was thinking maybe Friday of this week, but I haven't heard back from him because our surveyor is available Friday. So we were hoping, because we were looking at going down there.
You're talking in regards to the lateral going up on the hill.
Yeah, going down from Eisenhower Boulevard to down the butcher shop, and then we were talking about, I think there's 3 houses in there near the Eichberger property. Yeah, and
There's a branch that wasn't picked up.
yeah. So that's what we were going to do, and for meeting and deciding what we were going to do, and had our surveyors there to know what they needed to pick up for alignment purposes and so forth. And also, I was trying to arrange, I did get that information, I started filling out the form, but I wanted to get with you to make sure, because I think,
Yeah, I may have forgotten some stuff,
yeah.
like the O&M things, because I'm
Well,
thinking.
not only that, but there wasn't anything for water specifically. You had the sewer.
Yeah, that's what I thought I needed, was the sewer.
Yeah, but we're gonna need both. Okay, but I wanted to show you how I was arriving at the numbers to make
Okay.
sure you're okay with that. So we'll try to schedule a time to set that up, okay?
Okay.
We have I was told that we had from Amy Davis at Cedarcog till the middle of December to get that into them, so I don't think it's.
Are they coming up to they don't have to come to this, right? This meeting here?
No. This is just between our office and your staff and me working with Susan trying to get this user fee analysis filled out so it can be submitted with the grant application form. Stone Mill Estates sewer system plan. The developer's engineer, Alpha Consulting Engineers, Todd Wilson called me and had told me a few weeks back that they were looking to, instead of going gravity sewer with the issues they were having, now they're looking at a pump station coming up through the Crick property up onto Eisenhower Boulevard, tying into the authority manhole there, and then, just discharging at that point and utilizing the authority system to get the flow down into the borough, to the treatment plant. Nothing definite. That was all just, at this point.
Still preliminary.
Preliminary, exactly. They're working on it. I told them there may be concerns that the existing system couldn't handle the additional flow in the line. Line capacity might So they're looking at maybe flow equalization. And what they're gonna come back with is probably within the next couple of weeks prior to the next authority meeting is with some type of design, okay?
Just for everybody else's, you made a statement there about the flow equalization. Can you
Right.
give them a brief explanation of what that consists of?
Okay, what it is they're not gonna directly pump into the authority system. What they're gonna do is they're gonna have some holding capacity there where they're gonna pump, probably over a longer period of time at lower flow rates to allow for the existing line or system not to be, pumped, over its
Surcharge.
capacity or surcharge, right?
Looks
So-
like pump at night or something like that, or what?
That I don't know. Again, it was all
Yeah,
preliminary.
what, 8-inch lines in there up there?
It should be an 8-inch
Yes.
line. That's almost a man.
Yeah, 8 inches typically.
Is the
I
borough
don't think
okay
it's-
with this discharge, or is this commission?
Well,
They're
yeah, they have that capacity, we know that.
Yeah, but I think they're checking with the borough as well.
The line, I mean, that discharge is at different points than where we're gonna discharge it.
Right, well, they were gonna come
Butcher
down
shop.
Butcher Shop
They were
Road,
gonna, yeah.
but being that we had issues with they had issues with steep slope, and then with the alignment and so forth, we were gonna have issues with, getting back and
For maintenance purposes.
operating and maintenance
Right.
purposes of maintaining those lines if there a blockage occur. So, we kept kicking that around, and that became at a point where they couldn't see fit to do it, because I think steep slopes were the major factor, where it was precluding them from, designing and allowing it to be dedicated back to the
So the
authority.
big thing now is, will the lines handle this?
That's right,
proposal?
that's right.
Okay.
That you can't use the right of way along 849?
I think from what I've been told, they've exhausted all the avenues at this point for gravity sewer.
At the present moment, Bob, till
Oh,
the
yeah.
complete Market Street upgrade is done, the issue of capacity, and that is at question. But once the completion of Market Street would
Well,
be
if
there.
they're gonna stage it going the other way, can't they stage it coming that way? Just a thought.
We have like 2 more, stages?
That's all gravity.
Yeah, I know, but like he says, the lines
I
in
know where
between
Bob's
are
going
bad
with this,
shape.
and I understand that, gravity keeps it the simplest, least
Yeah.
amount of maintenance. And that's what we were trying to do, and they were trying to do, except for the steep slopes. There was no way for us to get in to service our manholes
Right.
on our cleaning program that we have implemented, and there was no way to maintain that line all the way down through that hollow, which,
And we have 2 more runs to go to bring the lines up to snuff and done again, right?
there's
Two.
more than that.
Huh?
There's more than that. There's two in between, and then there's 1 or 2 above yet.
But you're helping pay for that.
Yeah,
And
we
then you're
are.
not gonna use it.
No, I don't know.
I don't know, I'll shut up.
Well, we've talked about that, but there's, like I said, right now, I don't know.
But it's,
How long is it gonna take us to get those lines corrected? I don't know.
How long is it gonna take till you get up to peak capacity? This isn't gonna develop overnight.
No, that's true.
and I know where they're gonna go with this sweat well too. The sweat well's one of them lines that jumps into that system too.
Well, anyway.
So,
Okay, we're gonna have to deal with it, that's all. All right. Is there anything else?
Yes, I have, talked about the survey, trying to schedule that, and then Stone Mill Station, we covered that. Next thing on the engineer's report is the Morrison Sewer Extension Project. The consultant for the Morrison project is requesting a modification to eliminate a sewer clean out from the 2-inch force mains at Station 4 plus 09. I had put some emails out, and I think Henry was it today, as you said, you didn't probably have any issues with that. So, okay, we're okay.
They're on both sides of the extreme anyhow.
They are.
And all it
They
is
are.
It's a 45, it's a change of direction on a fitting installation.
Yeah,
And it's got, being HDPE, it's
Yeah.
no need for it, I understand that. So it's a contour angle.
and I only received your email. I don't know if everybody else is on board with that, so is it okay to give him direction to that?
I think we just discuss it here and decide what to do with it, you know what
Okay.
I'm saying? If these people don't have no objections, and
We didn't see any need for it, and their consultant who designed, I guess, as I understood it, the pressure sewer system didn't, they said they could do away with it as well. I don't even know why it showed up there in the first place, but.
I do.
Well, I do know, but, you know, yeah, but,
This is what happens when you change your mind,
right,
when the job should already be done.
right.
This is the issues that come into play.
Also, it was discussed at the previous authority meeting that they needed to include a clean out between manhole 6 and 7 because the line between 6 and 7 and their upstream of that was all going to be future, but we wanted to have the capacity or the ability to clean that out if we would need to do so.
Service that system.
Yeah. So, and I haven't seen that change yet, so I'll reiterate that back to them. I think they understand that, but I haven't received a revised set of plans. Okay?
So this is an engineering decision, we don't need it, we don't.
You already made a decision on that
Okay.
at the last meeting.
At the last meeting, that's
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, we reviewed and approved project shop drawings, and I think from the dates that I have in my schedule book here, you asked for a date for the first wave of shop drawings. I think it was around October 18th, I think is what we had down. Yeah, about 10/18, and then the second wave came in, as of, about not even 2 weeks later. So we turned those around really quickly, received emails from Mr. Mellon expressing his appreciation for us doing so. Currently, developer Morrison is on site constructing project. Our inspector was on site at the time, reviewed the work that had been completed up until that point and was satisfied with that level of work completed. Also, we received a formal letter concerning the Concordia Pythian home regarding the displeasure with Mr. Himmelberger with the work on his property. That was also expressed back to Mr. Morrison back on October 10th and said that we needed to proceed and expedite that work as quickly as possible due to the satisfaction of the property owner. And also in keeping with Mr. Ox's recommendation that Mr. Morrison also proceed in good faith as what was stated at the previous authority meeting in order to reduce any type of action taken by the authority against Mr. Morrison.
The work that he has done already in that area, has the engineer evaluated?
Yes, I was personally there and saw the crossing at the home's driveway.
And how is that installed?
Well, what he did was he bored through, he had a pit on each side of the driveway. He bored through, wasn't your conventional type of boring that I would call where you'd have a casing pipe, which would require a carrier pipe to be installed in that. He did a boring and then installed the pipe in the boring. I took exception to that in that I told Mr. Rash at the time, because that pipe is installed under the driveway. It's an 8-inch SDR, PVC SDR 35 pipe. Yeah, I believe that's what it is.
Green pipe.
Yeah. And it was on blocks or 4x4 pieces of lumber going across the excavation that was elevated, sitting on those blocks. And I told him two things. He needs to grout the pipe in place, all the way around the pipe, granular space. Has to maintain alignment and grade through the pipe when the process is done. Because right now, we don't want the pipe to settle. We have to have adequate material around the pipe to protect the pipe because, again, there's no casing pipe in that installation. So,
I'd say by now it's collapsed.
well, it could be. But anyway, he's aware of the situation. He'll have to pull the pipe and redo it because we won't accept it. And our inspector was notified of those circumstances.
Oh, so he was told to pull it?
No, he was told that
Oh, if something goes wrong.
that's the application of some type of grouting material needs to be in place.
Okay.
And it needs to be able to be in the annular space and protect the pipe. And he has to maintain the alignment and grade that was shown on the plans. So, otherwise we won't accept it. And Mr. Rash was told that at the time when we were at the site visit. Because I personally told him myself.
Do you have written documentation of that?
I got an inspection report to
I
that effect.
recommend you keep very good, close eyes on that.
Yeah. So,
I'm very, very concerned about that.
and
We don't have anything in our rules and regulations in regards to how that's supposed to have been addressed. It does not note such. He has not been granted to proceed that way.
right. And the whole reason why that crossing is not complete is because there's a manhole on each side.
I
And
understand.
he's waiting on them for the manholes for that to occur. I even talked to Mr. Rash about that today, that has to be a priority of the work that needs to be done, as soon as possible. So he has to prioritize that, and he said basically it depends upon when those manholes come in for those designated manholes come in for those locations.
Denver, you have standard specifications, I wouldn't be surprised if something in there that addresses this.
Huh? That's what I'm saying. I think we need to make sure we look at
Your standard specs.
our standard specs and make sure that he's adhering to what we want.
And, yeah, initially what that was shown as was an open cut trench. What Mr. Rash had told me at the time, and this is what he said, they didn't cut the driveway because they were concerned about
I understand.
access to and from the facility.
Everything has a submittal process.
Yeah, and I'm on board with you. That's why if you remember at the last meeting, I emphasized the submittal process, and I got a little bit upset about it, and
Does he have a copy of developer's specs?
Your
Yeah.
standard specs.
Huh?
Your standard specs.
Yeah, standard specs.
Yeah.
I think we need to make sure,
Yeah.
we need to look into that, make sure what we have in there is being adhered to,
okay.
okay? I don't think we should be deviating from it. There's been no submittal process to change it, prove it, for moderation or deviation.
That'd be in the rules and regs, wouldn't it? Not the developer specs. You're talking about the first.
The in the book is about that thick.
Yeah, that's where it would be.
You have something, I'm sure we do. That's not normal protocol, what we're doing there. If there's any concerns about it, please make sure I get an email.
Yeah.
As well as the rest of the authority.
Right. Next item is sanitary sewer construction and material specifications for developers based upon, that's the document that we're talking about. Your specifications is that next item that they were referring to, Mr. Schaefer was referring to. Sanitary sewer, we're in the process of finalizing the revisions to the construction material specifications, because we did make that modification to the frame and cover, but also we need to take the written specifications and modify that as well. We're in the process of doing that. We're doing it not only for you guys, but for some other authorities that had the same specifications. Where what happened was the materials that were specified are no longer available from the manufacturers.
So I'm assuming that while we're doing this for audit purposes, we get a discount.
We'll charge you for the time we have involved for you. Okay. I'll be sure. I'll be sure to review and approve. Only what's allocated to your time. NPDES permit renewals. We have 2 NPDES application renewals. One for the Tincorapithian wastewater treatment facility, and then one for the Cove wastewater treatment facility. What I brought with me was for Mr. Chisholm. I was hoping he would be here tonight. We're going to need to submit this back by the end of January of 2014.
I thought we were doing that in-house.
Are you doing it in-house?
Well, we were thinking of doing it in-house, but I didn't know that it had to be done by January.
Yeah, it has to be
January
done,
14th.
Yeah, I didn't remember.
it has to be done 180 days prior to.
Somehow I thought,
My question is who gave you the authority to proceed to the board where you're at without questioning it, or was it just an assumption?
It was an assumption, because we haven't done anything
Yes.
except for generating the requirements that you need to complete in order to get the information for us to do the report.
I recommend before you go any further, you get in contact with our office and question where we're at on that. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm not-
well, I can tell you right now, we're at no place.
I was gonna say we were gonna do it, but if it's a short time frame like that, we might not be able to do it.
I understand, but that's what I'm getting at. I mean,
Yeah,
if
well-
there's some miscommunication here, dates, timeframes,
I
on somebody's
didn't-
behalf, so be it. don't
I
have an
thought
issue
from
with
what the other engineer had said, we had a little bit longer time, and Ed was saying that we could maybe do it and try to save the authority some money.
You're welcome.
it. I just don't want dual duplications here and waste of our time.
Well, let's find out if we can do it
But
or not.
we're running into some problems with Karen's husband possibly. And
Oh.
with my mother, and so can this be held off for just a couple weeks?
Oh, yeah,
So we
no
get back to
problem,
you.
no problem.
All right, we'll get back to you
Yeah,
then.
we can.
We had talked to Bill about it, and Bill was aware that we were thinking of doing it in-house. He was
Okay.
here at a meeting when we were doing it, but talking about it.
Okay, no problem.
However, I'd be glad to take the information
No, I'll
that you
hold
need.
on. We're not charging those, so we're not gonna,
Okay, is that it?
no, I'm teasing you.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Here we go.
That's right, he already gave me the name of the engineer that I could contact there too.
Do we have an operator's report here today or not?
No.
No
He said
operator.
he did not come this evening because he wasn't sure that there was anything that
Okay.
he needed.
Field rep isn't here. We do have a field service report though.
No, I'm teasing you.
Anybody have anything on the field service representative report?
Oh, my word, yes.
What?
Oh, my word. Oh, he kept calling me and meeting with me since he couldn't be here. He's just, all right, let me see. Last month, there was something about changing the Myers. He was supposed to get a thing about changing Myers pumps over to E1s. Do you remember that? So he has a proposal here to purchase 4 E1s. Retrofits would be $9,515. And then to install 3 new ones.
What was
Same.
that price again?
$9,515 would be to purchase 4 E1 retrofit grinder pumps. However, see, after he gave me that, then he called me and said that maybe he wants to, he was thinking maybe they should find out what the cost is to remove the Myers grinder pump units and replace them with E1s. PTMA has 12 complete units stored at the Cove wastewater treatment plant. At the present rate of housing development, it'll take a considerable amount of time to use them. They are already out of warranty and are not a current production model. So he was wondering if maybe they ought to, if the track you ought to take is, instead of retrofitting
Use them.
the other ones, use these. So,
Put the update kit in.
what's that? What's the what?
Use them for the retrofit.
What is sitting down there? E1s, right? And this is to remove the Myers pumps and retrofit them. So he's wondering about, instead of buying the retrofit kits and all that, just pulling the pumps and putting these in, the ones that are sitting down there.
It won't be quite that easy, but that's a very good idea.
Yeah, I recommend we use them if we can buy the retro kit to make these work, is what he's gotta do. It should be
Yeah.
cheaper to buy just, should be
Call me,
cheaper.
Randy. I'm sorry. I'll get in touch with your office about a day next week or whatever.
I'm not gonna be here next week, so
Okay.
it might have to be the week after.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'll see about Friday, but it's gonna be tough for me.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
We didn't have time yet. From what she said, we have till mid this.
Okay, thank
Hey,
you.
thanks a lot.
Okay. We just put this on hold and, because I'll be honest, I'm a little confused on, he gave me the proposal from Lankers to do the retrofit, but then he's got this idea that there are 12 of them sitting down there, and,
It sounds like it, yeah.
you know.
This is Sam.
What?
You're talking about Sam?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll give Sam a little bit of leeway here, let him discuss, we'll discuss this next now, you know.
all right. There are 6 Myers pumps, I guess, in the system,
Yes.
so.
So what do you have to do to put the E1s, I mean, I'm not familiar with this.
You gotta buy a different adaptation connection to
Adapter
make
to
it
put it-
work.
to
You gotta
make it
buy the
work.
adapter connection to put in place of the Maris so the E1s will connect to
But the
it.
pumps themselves are the most expensive part of the
Yes.
whole
Okay.
operation,
Yes.
so I think that's the way to go.
Okay.
Since I-
All right.
Okay.
You put them down in the, you put them in the Maris wet well,
Yeah.
but you use the E1, and then you got all your controls and stuff changed around to a simple, standard structure that we have. Everything will be generic, everything's standard then. I mean, our boxes, everything will be all the same. We don't have these couple Myers that come back and fight us all the time and
All
something
right.
happens.
I guess maybe he needs to, I think what he was asking, could he get a cost to see what it would cost? Can he get an estimate to see
Yes.
what it would cost to remove these Myers and replace them with the E1s that are there?
I think we did Roars, we already got, I think they're both changed out. One,
Years ago,
yeah, we did an upgrade on them, got rid of
yeah.
them.
Can we get prices for that,
That's what I
for
think.
next month?
That's the easiest way to
Okay.
get a price out on it. I think we should try to all go all the E1s if we can, that way it's pretty generic.
Okay, let's see, we don't have master meter report, or do we?
No, well, they would be in it's always in the correspondence folder. He doesn't give one to everybody, it's just, there's only one
Oh,
Elmer.
all right.
He
Okay.
sticks it in there.
All right. Penn Township Supervisors Report.
I have 4 different things. Water connection notice that was in the packet. There was no action taken on that at the last supervisors meeting. Hope to have that for next month.
Was there questions about it, or?
I think it just needed a little more review time,
Okay.
so I'll get back to you with that next month.
All right.
The support letter for the CDBG grant, that was sent, and I think I saw a copy of that here somewhere.
Yeah,
So that was sent by the township. Stone Mill had asked for a 90-day time extension from the supervisors. And after I had reviewed the minutes from here from October, reviewed those with the letter that Alpha submitted dated October 17th, there were too many questions and too many things that I don't think happened exactly the way they say they did. Alpha claims that there was a meeting with the municipal authority members and staff on August 29th.
Pertaining to what?
Okay, to discuss the feasibility of providing public water to the site and the authority's willingness to accept dedication of the proposed gravity sewer extension from Butcher Shop Road. I questioned Sam about that because I went back on my records and had nothing for August 29th.
If I'm not mistaken, that was the meeting that Mr. Yanks was at.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
That was,
We had a special meeting, I don't know, that's the day.
and sometimes there's just meetings with a couple people. And not
Because I have
official.
no record of it.
it was a meeting in regards to finding out what the water, it was more for the water system, and they discussed a little bit about the sewer. They did not go into any detail of what they were looking
It
at.
wasn't an official meeting.
It wasn't an official meeting, there was no action taken, it was a discussion of what can happen and where we were headed, okay?
Yeah, it was not a, it wasn't.
You remember that,
Yeah,
Elmer?
yeah.
Okay, it was just nothing
It
but.
was you and I and,
Yes.
we were the only
It was
two.
just a discussion,
Authority
there was no
members.
action taken,
Right.
and it was in regards to, saying, yes, that we have the ability, we have the capacity to, we have the water resource to handle what they're gonna do over there, instead of putting the well system in. And then they discussed a little bit about how they were gonna tunnel down through the steep slope areas and this, that, and everything else with the HDPE and stuff like that. And that, it was just real rough general ideas about it. They just suggested things and discussed it a little bit. I'm surprised they even brought that up, but that's what happened. And
It was
then-
not an official meeting.
Yeah, and then at our stated meeting, that stuff all got presented and discussed openly right there then,
At the September meeting.
at the September meeting, yes.
Well, because they mentioned about being at the September meeting, but they claimed that they had brought, in October, they claimed that,
We had sent them a letter a long time ago saying we have the water capacity to handle things. You remember that?
well, on one of these, they say that they have submitted a new plan. On the minutes from last month, John Murphy says that he stated that he will report back next month with a plan that he hopes both parties are comfortable with. And he's not here tonight.
I think that's what the engineer was referring to, this new thing about the pump station. They must still be working on that.
Well,
That's what,
That was never discussed with anyone.
Not normally,
That
that
wasn't
was-
even,
well-
that's just something that they pulled out of the air.
Well, that's
They
after the
didn't-
steep slopes weren't going anywhere. I think they, decided to.
yeah, he
When
didn't
we had our
mention,
stated meetings, and at our stated meetings, we expressed the concerns of not being able to service our manhole points readily, but driving to them and being able to flush them. We expressed our concerns and said it's not acceptable. Well, then this is a direction that they're trying to head for.
and that was at the September meeting because they brought the same old plans back that they had for how many months, and we had told them how many times that it wasn't acceptable.
They were trying to overcome the steep slopes, and the steep slopes was not gonna allow them to put a road out through there for us to have service points.
Right. So with all that being said, they didn't get their 90-day extension, they got a 30-day extension. They've changed their plans. There's just too many things going on. How many years has this plan been on the books? 7, 8? I mean, how many revisions have there been? It's ridiculous.
Started out
And
with
all they're
158.
doing is making a fool out of the township. They know these houses aren't gonna sell because of the economy. They're just buying time because they don't wanna withdraw everything and have to resubmit. And that's what I think they should have to do because it's a totally different plan. But that's just my opinion. So they did not get their 90-day extension. They only got 30 days. So they're not gonna be happy, but
And that's up the end of November, right?
Mhm. yes, sir. End of
Before
November.
you guys meet again.
Yeah.
I only have 3 things and you said 4.
Okay, I have one more. I am confused, and perhaps, and I don't know if you folks here can clarify this, or if this is more of a township supervisor's issue, but we discussed this on Wednesday night. Morrison wanted his letter of credit returned. Bunt's letter of September the 20th. Accordingly, we are requesting that the township concur that the letter of credit in the amount of $10,000 is no longer required, and the same can be terminated effective immediately. This was required for the 180 days for them to get their DEP mailer, which they forced us around on that 180 days, and they got a lot more than 180 days out of us. But what constitutes returning that letter of credit? The work being completed? Or just the DEP mailer being returned, just meeting their 180 days, but they haven't done anything?
Okay, here's another question, now that you brought that up.
What's the letter? No, go ahead.
It was issued by the
Did
township.
we not, before he started, request that he put bond up for the right of way on our property before he started any work? Dennis?
Yes, yeah,
Has he done
the agreement requires security. I believe he did. I'll have to go back and be absolutely sure though.
Where would it be? It was not done in a meeting. I don't remember it ever coming across in any
If he
minutes.
reneges on that going up through there.
I wouldn't
we can't
forget to
pour,
put that
at
in
least
the
we have
minutes.
money to repair it and do it on our own cost, Bob, you know what I'm saying? It's only fair.
I
Can't
think
pour it.
that's part of signing the agreement
Yeah.
with the sewer extension, they have to put up, security.
Yeah.
And that's,
I think
if he's gonna back out of that, that's what the security's for.
Yeah, I better look at that.
Yeah, I don't would that have been an actual, like a letter of credit from a bank kind of thing? It's not that they give us
Yeah, or a
money.
bond.
Yeah, we don't have any
I
bonds
ain't
we're
too sure that
holding.
ain't part of what we're trying to, put it this way, it's gonna benefit, don't drop that till we know where we're at.
No.
Okay?
No, and that's why I did
Yeah, well, this is probably securing something though, other than sewer improvements, but I don't know.
I don't think so. Well, nonetheless, it got tabled last Wednesday night, and he's not getting that back until we get some answers
So he resolves what it's for.
right.
Okay, that's 10,000.
Yes.
You take more than that, to put in that sewer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's already got it tore up, and if he reneges on it, we start cleaning it up already, you know what I'm
Take more than
saying?
that to clean it up.
That's not a sewer bond. I know he didn't give us one and
But the other issue is if this does not go through, we put it in and put a lien on the property. That's the other option that we have.
You can do that.
We can do that.
If the agreement provides for that, which I'm sure it does.
It's the standard,
Yeah.
We can do that. He's already been told
I
that.
better check it.
so with Cece's question, we're just going to ignore that kind of right now and see what the township's doing with that?
I think the idea was don't release anything, but we make sure we know
Make
it's
sure we
security.
make sure we have our right of way protected, Dennis.
Right.
I mean, he's already right to the point where he's gotta do that, and he's already infringed upon that right of way without,
I remember
He knows.
we had a considerable amount of discussion about the security for this, but I don't remember exactly where or how it ended up. This thing's going on like the other project.
he's a contractor, he knows
Yeah,
the rules, I'm sorry. We all got bonds on him.
You know that contractor, you can speak as a contractor? You know how it works, right?
I'm no contractor, but I know all about that.
Okay.
Susan, could a letter be sent to the township office, please, notifying them not to release any letter of credit until further notice?
Well, I think Dennis, you're gonna handle it?
Yeah, I'll review it.
Yeah,
But
Dennis.
just so that doesn't,
Okay, so
Dennis is
Municipal-
gonna review it. and
Dennis is gonna review it and then have him send the letter to
No,
the
I don't
town?
know either. He
I'll
said-
contact you.
Contact, okay.
Yeah, okay.
thank you.
Upon Dennis's review.
Question for township supervisor,
Yes, sir.
under old business number 6.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I don't know if you want me to address that now or not. That was discussed Wednesday night too, it was brought up by some residents.
We have been on hold, trying to decide what you folks are doing.
What are we talking about?
Number 6 in old business.
Oh,
There again, we're in the hold of the court. Our wonderful legal process, where nothing moves fast.
well, what did you do? Okay, what did you?
The demolition permit has run out and nothing has been done. The house is still partially there.
Okay.
So no action had been taken. So there has to be papers filed against them that they did not fulfill the obligation of the permit.
All right.
And I don't remember now how many days they have to respond to that. It goes back and forth, and the long and the short of it is that in the long run, if they don't tear it down, we have to and then bill them for it. And, you know, you could ultimately end up with the property
again.
by default, so.
Is that the one where he said cite them every day?
Yeah, that you could
Okay.
cite them every day, but it's like, you're not gonna
It's
get,
$300 a day.
yeah,
I don't know if he gets blood from a turnip or not.
no.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you won't get 1 day citing out of it, but nonetheless. So it's a wait and see legal game right now. That's where that stands, unfortunately.
All right. Okay, anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Mr. Shadow.
Yes, the first item on
You
the
folks have fun afterwards.
agenda there is a collection matter. Truthfully, it's on there because I completely could not remember. I thought I remembered, I think I do, but I didn't want to go ahead without being absolutely sure. We had, that property was on my list to go to execute upon the real estate to sell at a sheriff's sale. We got a proposal to pay $80 a month. 60 would of course pay the current bill, and 20 would be available to apply against the delinquent balance, which is thousands of dollars, and maybe it's on something we have here tonight, but I was thinking it was at least 2, and I'm more likely to think around 4,000.
Yeah, 42,
Okay, so it would take effectively forever at that rate. I wouldn't even pay the accruing interest on the delinquent balance. I think the board wanted me to go ahead with that, but for some reason I didn't make a note of it, and I didn't want to do it without being sure. It would end up being on the same sale calendar as the ones I've already started, so we haven't lost any time. But I just want to make sure, am I to go ahead with that? You don't want to accept that proposal?
I think you're supposed to proceed with it.
That'd be 200 months.
Yeah, it would take, it's 10, 20 years,
Not practical.
15 years. No. Okay, that's what I thought. I just
Yeah, it's not practical, that's all.
gonna have to figure out another solution. Oh, this thing, kind of what that next item was. That's I looked at that, and it has to do with termination of service, essentially to a park.
It's these questions that Sam asked last
Right.
month, and he wanted, I'm to bring them up and see if you have answers.
Well, I have my opinion.
Okay.
There isn't much law, unfortunately, on this issue. But my reading of the statute is that you can give notice of, the question is termination of service. Okay. And what makes this a little peculiar is that as I understand it, we can't just terminate service to individual mobile homes, right? We'd have to terminate the main, which terminates service to everybody. Okay.
Well, this is the
Am
one
I
though that
correct?
done can't, well, this particular issue are the 3 trailers that the borough got the water service to in that tariff war. So they're shutting
We have the
off.
water, they have the sewer.
We have the water, they have the
Oh,
sewer.
you're right. We have the water, they
Yeah,
have
we
the
have the
sewer.
water, they have the sewer.
They're gonna disconnect the
They were gonna
sewer.
dig up the damn sewer lines. I can't.
They are going to dig up the sewer lines.
Really?
Yes, that's
Well,
what.
what's the question on that one?
Duncannon Borough's in the process of disconnecting 3 properties from the sanitary sewer, okay? Now, what they told Sam is that the tenant can pay the usage fee, and then they can deduct that payment from their rent to the landlord. And he just wanted to know if that was true.
Yes. Yes.
In other words, the tenants can pay and get their,
And so that way, if they could pay
They
the.
can pay and keep their service.
They can pay and
then
keep their service.
and deduct the amount they paid from their rental.
Oh.
Okay.
okay.
What makes it a little bit cumbersome with what I was starting to explain is that what you would really have to do is say to a tenant, the bill is $1,200 a month.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So if you pay the $1,200 a month, we won't disconnect the service. Well,
They're not gonna pay $1,200.
well, yeah, I mean, how can you do that? That's 20 units worth, all right? And so we really don't have the ability, the physical ability to terminate service or to allow service to individual tenants who might say, look, I'll pay the 60, I'm happy to pay that.
Well, you know what, though, it's not
We can't accommodate that.
But it's
okay?
not even our system.
Well, but we're talking about now the part that's completely in the township. That you
Yeah, I don't even know it's in a township.
We're talking about the rest of them.
Yeah, the rest of them, not the
We got
ones
enough
that-
delinquents to do the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Well, in other words, we could terminate water service. You'd have a right to terminate water service for non-payment of sewer, or non-payment of water, but,
If you take a look at what we have here, we should have the right to terminate both of them for the amount it is.
as I say, what makes it odd is.
Master meter?
This problem of saying to the tenant, if you want service, you can keep your service, but you have to pay us $1,200 a month. Now, we can send that letter, we have to send that letter to all the tenants, okay? But it would have to essentially say the same thing,
Yeah.
all right? I think you can do it, but it's not as clear as I would like it to be in the law, and there's no cases decided under it. But I think we could do it. I think you could say, look, we're terminating water service unless this is paid, send notices out to all the tenants, advising them that if you may pay it to keep your service, and if you do, you may reduce your rental payment accordingly. But as I say, it's cumbersome because it would require them to pay the whole bill. Now, maybe the tenants all get together, okay? Maybe they all get together and accomplish that result, and that's fine. I think you can do it. It's a little muddy and it's a little cumbersome, and I'm not sure what the best plan
We
is.
already got things filed for the,
Yes, it's on the sheriff's sale
and
list.
that's when.
The sale itself is January. Okay, that's the next sale. That's the one this qualifies for. They only have them every 3 or 4 months. So we're on for, now I have heard though from their bank, okay, the mortgage holder is Members First. And I emailed, in fact, today, a follow-up letter to the loan officer who communicated with me, because they got notice of the sale, and said, what the hell's going on? And, what do we have to pay, et cetera, et cetera. So I've given them all the figures.
The water bill too?
I gave them both, yeah. But now what they'll do, I don't know, because the loan officer wasn't sure. When I started, we were up into the 20+ thousand, and she's saying, whoa, I mean, you know, I'm not sure that that's an amount that we'd be willing to advance. So she said, I need to talk to my people. I hope to hear from them probably within the next week or so, but it's scheduled right now, so it's on the list.
Okay.
And unless something changes, it goes in January.
Yeah. I think that's.
Do you
the
want
way
to
go.
explain to them about how you can only file on one lien? That was
Yeah, I
the
can
problem
only
with
file,
Members
and
First.
I probably did go over that before. I can only file on one lien at a time, which means that I typically pick the oldest lien, okay, and execute on that. The debtor can pay that lien off, just that lien, okay, and the cost, and stop the sale. There's nothing we can do about that. The only other thing I could do is start 5 or 6 sheriff sales at one time and advance $750 times 7 or 5 or 6.
And what's that again?
Okay.
You start with the first lien.
You can only execute on one lien.
One lien.
Right.
And then how much is that, I mean?
Well, the one I used was, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000.
Oh, okay, all right.
So if they pay that one off and
Yeah,
pay
okay.
my fee and the cost, I have to stop the
You
sale.
gotta start- Okay.
Okay. But
Then you file again.
I
the
can
next-
file again the next day
All right.
on the next lien.
All right.
Okay? So I tried to explain to this lady from Members First, because she wanted to know what do I have to pay to stop the sale, and I told her, I said, you can do that, but I can tell you what's gonna happen, because we can't, this one we just can't absorb, we can't sit on this, it's too much money.
Yeah.
So she was real clear on understanding that.
Okay.
that If you do that, I guarantee you, the board is gonna tell me the next day, file again, and you're gonna be talking to me again in another 3 weeks. Okay?
So
If
in other
that's what you
words-
wanna do, that's fine.
So in other words,
to satisfy the sheriff's sale, this thing will not go away. It'll still be there.
It's still
So if
without
the sheriff's
totally
sale is
paid.
satisfied, this thing's still gonna be here.
Well, if they pay off the lien that I filed the sale for,
Which is all they're entitled to.
which they have every right to do, then we're back to square one. I'd have to start the process on the next lien. Okay? Now, maybe we could talk about that. Maybe I can execute on all 5 liens at the same time. Okay, then they've got to deal with all of them. But usually the first time around, I only file on one because with them, we haven't done it yet. And in part, it's an attention getter, and it already got the attention of their mortgage lender, all right? So the idea is, once everybody knows how the game's played, maybe we want to get this cleaned up. And if not, then we'll play hardball, okay? We won't have any choice. So if they pay this lien off, Henry, I will come back to the board and tell you that, and then I'll just ask you, what do you want me to do? Should I go file on all 5 or 6 of the remaining liens at the same time, advance $750 to the sheriff on each one, and then do that? And if that's your wish, that's what we'll do.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yeah,
And I only did it against the park too, okay? I didn't file execution against the house and the little piece that has a couple of mobile homes on it that were done candidates involved. I figured, let's see what happens. The mobile home park is the big property, all right? So let's see if this gets
You put
us.
a sheriff's sale on the one, on the other one.
Pardon me?
You put a sheriff's sale on the one.
165.
Yeah, 165, which is the individual house.
I thought it was only on the park.
It says sheriff's sale here for the individual.
Oh, that might be incorrect. She might have thought I was going to, but where is that?
165.
No, that's incorrect. Yeah, I only filed it on 163.
okay.
We have the liens in place to do it, but I didn't start multiple sale processes.
I think you should.
Well, I will.
So you filed against the $17,416.02?
Yes, the park,
All right.
yes.
Well, let's see what happens, you know?
I'd file the other one too. You see what it is, it's over a year. That's the rate it's going.
I'm willing to do that. I've, as I say, I filed.
We've already made an agreement, anything that goes over a year, or what is it,
$850.
$850, you know? We've said, and it's over that.
It is.
Proceed. Any of the other ones, the way I see it, any of the other ones you proceed with.
Well, number 219, Sam gave me a paper with a yellow line drawn through it, and he said he wrote a note here, need to start sheriff's sale if not already.
Yeah.
Which one?
Number 219.
Yep.
219. Oh, 219.
So you want me to go ahead on the house for number 165, right? And 219.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's
Or any
another,
of the other ones that are.
well, there's another 4 or 5 that are already in the mill
Yeah,
that are on here.
you might as well put them on that list.
Well,
I'm
but
not-
some of them are making payments.
Well, number 51 and 67 are on the list. 7 is on, they're
What
already
about
scheduled.
953, that's a new one.
They're scheduled. 953, no, that's not on my list yet.
Well, it's not at 850. It's not at 850 yet.
940.
Give it another month,
It was 850, not 800?
not 850.
Yeah, it's 850.
Okay.
949 paid the lien that I executed on. I forget how much it was, but that sale had to be stopped because it was paid.
Yes, we got the money back from the sheriff for that one and Howell.
Okay, and yeah. As I say, there's still some on, but I'll go ahead and start those other ones. And then if I forget if number 165 is covered by members' first mortgage. Well, it doesn't matter, I'll do what I have to do. If members' first is gonna do something, they'll do something,
They'll do something.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this idea of waiting ain't working.
It's
It's not going away.
it's too
We
big.
need to be more aggressive, Dennis.
Could
We need
we-
to stay on this.
Could the authority end up owning the trailer court?
Sure.
That's all we need.
Very good.
Sam has one other question about this. Should the authority send a letter to the property owner stating they will no longer be permitted to connect additional units to the water or sewer system until the outstanding balance has been paid?
Well, that I looked at too, and I can't find an answer to that. But I guess logically thinking about it, if we can terminate water service, okay, for non-payment, it would seem as though, to me, that we would have the right to say you can't connect anybody else.
If they're not satisfying their
Right, if
financial
you're not paying.
obligation.
So I think we could do it, but I just want to tell you, it's not crystal clear. It's one of those things, it's not crystal clear. It seems logical to me that we can do that, though. If we could let them connect and then turn around and terminate the service, right, it seems more reasonable to me that you say you can't have service until you pay the bill. So if that's what the board wants to do, I think we should just do it.
Yep, okay.
I don't know how, do we have a way to police it? Well, I guess we do. Or don't we? The township.
No, really, because now we're reading, well,
1 meter.
we're reading a master meter and we're billing them for,
It would only
Well-
have, we'd have to come through the township. I
he's
guess,
being
to
billed
issue
for,
the
he's
They'd
being
have to do
billed for
something
all
with a
20,
permit, right, to connect
20
the-
lots for sewer and about 5 of them are vacant anyway.
There would have to be
So
some
we
kind
can't
of
hook up.
ordinance or something
What?
that we would be able to cite.
So there's nothing, I mean, we're charging him every
Well,
month.
it would be best if you want to do that.
He's
it
paying
would
for
be
something he
best
doesn't
for,
have.
I think the board to pass.
Because he never comes and
resolution.
contacts us to
Right.
tell us which
Which
ones
I
aren't
can
hooked up.
draft if you want.
Yeah, well, I think we'd better
What?
do that rather than just go out.
Yeah, that's right. I've sent him letters.
I don't,
I mean, he just hooks when he wants to and unhooks when he don't want to, and he needs to stop that.
we should at least have an ordinance to set a precedent, I mean, or not,
A resolution.
Yeah.
You can put it in your rules and regs.
Yeah, okay.
Do you,
All right.
what do you want to do about termination of water service? Do you want to hold off on that, or do you want me to start that process?
If we make an action, Dennis, in December, we can implement this in January?
Yeah, you mean the not allowing further connections?
Further connections, terminations, et cetera,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
See what I'm trying to
Yes.
say? I don't want to cause a grief, it's gonna be bad enough where we're heading right now.
I hear you.
I'd sooner do it at the beginning of the year after the holiday season.
Well, do you want me to draft some provisions then for the rates, rules, and regs that would authorize?
Yeah, I would
all
feel
this?
better about
Then
it.
at least you've
Yeah.
got it down.
Absolutely, then the board can vote on it and then,
Yeah.
because I
But we
think
can implement it in January.
uh,
we're headed into,
Yes.
troubled waters here, I think.
Okay, and.
Well, it always is when it's a little gray, yeah.
And then that don't make you look too bad at the Grinch.
Well, and you can wait to see what happens with the
Alright.
sheriff's sale too.
Well, sheriff's sale's in January too, so it's all gonna, we do everything happens at the same time.
Something's gonna have to happen. I mean, the bank's gonna have to say, look, you know, you've got to address this because, you know, this is a problem for us now. So, I mean, something will have to happen. I don't know what it will be exactly, but it will be something.
Okay, that it for you, or you got something else?
No, but I should say the father has a large mortgage. You know, he conveyed that to his son, and he took back a large mortgage, and then he subordinated his mortgage to Members First, which they required. So he's also in the mix here with a lot of money at issue, and he got the notice too. So there's a couple of things that may be working to get something moving. Right. I think that's all I can remember now.
Okay, treasurer's report.
All right, you saw the delinquent accounts? So I think we're done with those. Monthly bills. I don't know that I see anything out of the, I'm looking for anything out of the ordinary. The engineer bills were really high this month. There was a $7,000 bill, and I don't remember what it was for. It was DeKoven maybe, or,
Extension.
The extension.
yeah,
Already seen it.
all right. Other than that, it's the usual bill, $62,908.
I'll make a motion that orders be drawn and bills be paid.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And as far as the financial report, you spent 91,000 out of your capital reserve this year. You have 211,000 left for your water system plus another 304,000. So you can start, you've got the money there to do some upgrades. I am continuing to take out the 8,800 that we were paying Penn, and I just move it over into capital reserve every month. So we've done that for 88,000 this year. And I'll answer any questions.
We said we were gonna pay for another extension down at Duncannon.
Yes, and I think I have that in, that's gonna be 50,000.
Is that what it's gonna be, 50,000?
I think that's what our share was gonna be, that they said that at the JOAC
Do you
meeting.
remember that, Henry, what our share was gonna be?
For the
It
new,
was 150,000,
it was
wasn't it?
150,000 and we pay 34%, so.
Yeah, that was for was that 2 runs? or
That's
one
2
run?
runs.
That's 2 runs.
It's
That's
2
what I thought.
runs. They wanna do 2 runs. So it's gonna be about 50,000 that we'll need for that.
Okay.
And whatever, if Shay, for that phase 1 business, whatever you might need for that. Somewhere, the very first phase was never paid, although I think CDBG
Oh, I know
paid
what
for
you're
all
talking
that.
about now.
Let's put it this way. It's change orders that are outstanding,
Okay,
okay?
So-
And whether that comes to a head or not, it's so small, it's immaterial. It's not,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
the only other thing is that this year you had a fairly large, you'll see in the budget I passed out last month, the update.
Yeah.
We're really over on our operation and maintenance costs, but they did a lot of upgrades to the plant. And we had budgeted some of those out of capital
You're talking about
reserve.
Duncannon plant.
Yes, I'm talking about the Duncannon plant. So,
Okay.
you always get a motion to accept that subject audit.
What, you want a motion for the financial report?
Yeah, but Cece's reviewing it, she might have some questions here, and I'm always willing to answer them.
Cece, yeah.
Mr. Beamer did pay off today. I just left that on here for the receipts. He paid off the last $710.53 installment. So
Oh,
that business where you left him pay the 6 installments, those past bills are paid.
Good, thank you.
So you'll see that next month, that money.
He's definitely got an issue down there, and I don't know what he's gonna do about it. It's very awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure Sam cleaned it.
Yeah.
I mean, he told me how bad it was.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept the financial report subject to audit.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, where are we at here?
Executive-
JOAC meeting.
Nope, executive secretary's next.
Huh?
Executive
Oh.
secretary. She put in your packet a list of engineers that she is suggesting that you send for RFPs. And you're to look through them and see who you don't want, who you do want. I don't know where she got some of them. I think the phone book, who knows?
What's this now? Oh, okay.
You had made
Yeah.
a comment a few months ago that you were thinking of putting just for Yahoos, well, not Yahoos, just to see what's out there. So these are the companies that she came up with. I suggested Pannoni to her since that's the boroughs. And Helen gave her a list of some of the ones she sends to. There were a couple that were given to us that we did not put in. So if you
So anybody has any comments, get back to.
get back to Karen and then
Karen.
she'll send the RFPs out. That would be done in February.
All right. Okay.
What would be done in February?
Well, February is when you approve your new
Okay,
people.
So they need to be sent out before.
They would have to be sent out so that
So
you
in
can
other
review
words,
them in
hopefully if we have a
January.
Full crew here, we can kind of talk about this next, in December, and get everything out in December.
Get the stuff out in December, have it back for the January meeting.
Make sure that we try to, we commit to a decision on this.
So you need this on the agenda for next month.
Yes. Okay?
All right, the JOAC meeting is postponed for this next,
Oh, it has been, okay.
yeah.
Sweet.
Um,
Trying to be two places.
Correspondence, periodical, old business. Anything there that we need to address?
Yes.
What?
Number 2,
What?
we have addressed the issue for 1 month. What are we gonna do? We held action for 1 month. Am I right, Dennis?
Yes, he had to have substantial progress. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
The last meeting, you said he had to have substantial progress by November 5th.
Are we satisfied with his substantial progress?
We need to have, as far as I'm concerned, our engineer and our field person tell us whether he's made substantial progress or not. That's what we need.
My take on the engineer was that things were
He
happening.
already gave us his opinion on it.
Yeah, I was,
He seems to think that what's been done so far is being done right, and
I'd sort of like to have our field representative's opinion on that.
Okay? Well, that's-
My question is I understand, we know we have a canceled meeting next week, but we can also use that to take action on this if we wish, because it's advertised.
Well, we need to get some information from Sam.
well, but remember, he said that he doesn't feel qualified.
Well, then.
You want him to get, okay, do you want him to go on site?
We heard from the engineer.
Yeah,
We need to hear from Sam,
okay,
I think. And then we'll go from there.
okay.
Okay, my question is, we have to make a decision tonight because we have an extension of 1 month.
We don't have to make a decision. How are we gonna make a decision if we can't talk to somebody about it?
Well, then I'll make a statement for the minutes on the records that
Go
I
ahead
object.
and make a statement.
Okay,
And I think we need to take action on it. Do you have anything to say?
I'm sorry, I was just kind of following up with what was said last month, where Sam did say that he did not feel that the project was outside his area of expertise.
And did you not see the email from Mr. Coder?
Yes, I did,
Okay,
yes,
and you heard his concerns.
yes, and I have the same concerns. And I also heard what the engineer said tonight, and I was concerned by what he said this evening.
He has no way to proceed, he cannot procure, he cannot do anything for at least another 3 weeks due to his lack of structural planning.
What did you say if he didn't proceed in the proper manner, what would we do?
Renew the
Proceed with
lawsuit.
district justice?
Renew the lawsuit.
With that district justice
Yeah.
matter, okay.
Yeah.
And I think that wasn't withdrawn, right? It was just put on
It
hold.
was a,
no, we withdrew it.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was.
We had to suspend it the next day. I told the police to go up and pull it.
So it would have to be refiled.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what is our other options to this thing? Because I feel he's not being forthright.
Maggie, are you suggesting an extension of another week till next week? Do you relook at it, or are you?
Well, everybody says the meeting's canceled next week.
Oh, okay.
So that throws that dilemma that I have
All right.
in another dilemma. You understand what I'm trying to say? So, my question is, what are our options? Because I feel it's not been a satisfactory performance. He's only performed within the last week because he knew he had to do something to write this report out. I drive by it every day.
Well, one option would be to authorize the refiling of the proceeding on the basis that there hasn't been satisfactory progress under the agreement we had with you.
The statement says manhole will be installed as they become available.
And he also said that he did not want to be confined to a time frame. Did Mr. Bailey say that tonight?
That's been inferred.
If that's the case, then he's the boss and we're not.
Well, I think I'd rather have the full board to decide this issue rather than just the three of us, to tell you the truth. That's the way I feel about it. I didn't hear from the engineer that we didn't have progress. Now, are we saying he didn't make adequate progress?
He made a statement that it was only 1 week's worth of work.
Well, have you been down to investigate the issue?
I drive by it every day to see what goes on.
So your opinion is what? He hasn't made...
He don't even have half the pipe in the ditch he's got dug. It's been dug for less than a week.
Did he not, according to our rules and regs, have 180 days to have this completed?
Yeah.
And that 180 days, as I've said before, his interpretation of 180 days went a lot longer than what those 180 days actually were. I think he has been given more than adequate time.
Dennis, other than the lawsuit, do we have the ability to create is there something in our rules and regulations about a fine or anything that would have a reasonable impact on this?
Well, the lawsuit would result in the fine. The proceeding, that would be the object there, would be to get the fine. Well, the only other remedy that I can think of right now, Henry, would be to do the work yourself and lien the property. In other words, to hire a...
The concern I have is he's already just went and dug up on our right of way. He abused something that we have total control of. He's just like tramping. I mean, it's just like somebody walking on my private property and tramping on it. And it ain't even our property. We're just got an easement, a right of way across it. I got problems with this. What is the answer? What is our options?
I think your options are you proceed with a fine for his failure to connect, or you connect it for him, start the process of connecting it for him, and lien.
I mean, the manholes weren't even ordered or submitted till the beginning of October. So he knew he was planning a 6-week lead time by doing that deliberately. There was no planning on his behalf to do anything.
No, it's been consistently the same story.
And then he knows the wheels of government work on a 30-day cycle, so he can get away with 6 months worth of dragging his feet.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I can't think of anything else you could do. I don't know if there's any way to revoke. Does he even have an occupancy permit?
No.
But he's occupying the building?
Yes.
So I suppose, but that would have to be something the township would take up, some action there to deal with his occupancy of the building. And maybe that wouldn't get his attention anyway, I don't
No,
know.
it really hasn't.
I mean, does he have to even use that building?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay, week of the 18th, it's the 6th right now, it's 12 days. Okay? We give them 2 weeks.
To do
And
what?
if we do not see no action within the right-of-way process, or right-of-way, we turn around and implement the lawsuit.
But is that all that's going to get done? And then the rest of the project sits, as it has?
When you
Once-
say right away, are you talking about their Kincora? Is that
Yes.
for the record? Thank you.
what I'm trying to say is we have an issue with, that's 2 weeks worth of work there. If he concentrates on that 2 weeks worth of work, then we can take an action at our stated meeting in December for the rest of them. You see what I'm getting at? Right now, we have an unhappy personnel on behalf of our thing. We need to show good faith that we're trying to support these people, that we're using our right of way. We are not, if we do nothing, we are not being supportive of those people and their concerns.
That was a good ratepayer.
Yes, of a good ratepayer. You see where I'm going with that? He says the week of the 18th, okay? That's 14 days, it's 2 weeks. Okay?
Are you suggesting a motion, some kind of a motion tonight that says if he doesn't get this, and this done by the 18th, that I would?
If it is not started because the manholes cannot be here, so we'll be generous on the, okay? He says the 18th, the week of the 18th. The week of the 18th, he must be procuring on that right of way.
Okay, and if he isn't?
Okay? Because it's already been discussed by the engineer
Okay.
that is a priority to be addressed. The holes are there for the manholes to be installed.
And-
I'm assuming that they are prioritized manholes. If they're not, shame on the contractor.
And if he doesn't do it, then you would want me to go ahead and proceed before
With the
your
boss,
next,
yes.
before your next meeting is the idea. So
That's
you
what
don't
the
have-
idea of the game is here, okay? It's pretty tough to make somebody do something when you know that the manholes ain't gonna be here. Okay?
Yeah.
I understand that, I can agree with that, but we can't wait till our next meeting.
Well, I see no reason why you couldn't have a motion that indicates that if this, and this are not accomplished by X date, the solicitor is to proceed with the
And
filing.
he needs to have a letter written to him explaining that that's what's gonna happen,
Right,
and then he can come and plead whatever he has to do. If we need a special meeting to renege the lawsuit, so be it. But it cannot be reneged until, am I right?
Yeah, you could do that. Or you could always meet next week if you, and hash this out at the time you would normally be having your JOAC meeting. You could do it either way.
I don't know, I think by the email I received from one of the other personnel, they're not happy with the occupational performance of it either. Am I correct?
What the idea here would be is to set, by motion, set something in process tonight that would say, if Morrison doesn't accomplish X, Y, and Z by X date, the solicitor is directed immediately to proceed, so that we don't have to wait till your December meeting.
Would we have to have another meeting in the meantime?
You would not have to, no.
That
'cause I
eliminates the
have
extra
my-
meeting.
Yeah, I would have my
According to his
directive.
schedule,
We get him a letter. In the meantime, we get him a letter that says this is what the board decided to have.
and we hold him,
to
to his schedule that he's proposing.
What, do we need a motion to do that or not?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'll
I think you
I'll
should.
make the motion that we give him,
All right.
2 weeks from tomorrow? You said there's 2 weeks worth of
What's-
work there?
Well, it says they're gonna be delivered the week of, the 18th.
okay, 2 weeks from tomorrow, which is the 7th, that's 14 days, right? That'd be the 21st, which is what?
Right, that's the Thursday.
It's a Thursday?
Okay.
And
He has until the 21st to do what?
to proceed with work on our right of way, to satisfy the concerns of King Court.
To complete it?
To to start it and satisfy it. I mean, he ain't gonna be able to complete it in that time frame, he ain't gonna get the manholes till that time.
He has until 11/21 to start installation
Installation.
of lines.
And manholes
In,
on PTMA right away.
okay. Across the Concord property. Okay. And failing in that, the solicitor is directed to immediately file proceedings for a fine.
This way, we are satisfying the concerns of King Cora as fast as we possibly can due to the schedule that he has given us. There is no way that we can get this guy to go any faster than that.
Okay, so he has,
He's starting to put
he's
dates
got his-
down. We
he's
can
got his-
hold him to schedule.
he's got to start by 11/21 to install lines in the right of way across Kincora. If he doesn't do so, the solicitor files promptly thereafter.
Lines and manholes.
Do you want me to send his lawyer a letter notifying him that this action is, well, assuming the board
I think.
passes it,
Yeah, I think would be good.
where we have to notify him.
Yeah,
That
we should
way,
have-
that way, he can come.
All right, you wanna read the motion then, again?
Yeah, it would be a motion, that the solicitor write a letter to Morrison's counsel, indicating that Mr. Morrison has until November 21st to start installation of lines in the PTMA right of way across the Kincora property. And if he fails to do so, the solicitor will institute proceedings for a fine immediately thereafter.
We have a second on the motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
You want to send a copy of that to Mitch Himmelberger at 25 Cove Road?
That's just what I was gonna ask.
That's King Cora. Mitch Himmelberger's the man that did,
I pity that poor person.
Mitch Himmelberger.
yep, Himmelberger. And King Cora's address is 25 Cove Road.
I sure wouldn't like if somebody was
What's-
digging on my property.
What's his, you know what his title is?
Is he manager,
Executive
director? I don't know what it is.
All right, Mitch Himmelberger and.
Mitch
20
Himmelberger at 25 Cove Road.
And that's at Kincora.
Yep, that's their mailing address.
He's executive director.
Okay, good. So they're upset.
Yeah, they are upset.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
Do you want to see here, do you want to see?
I mean, for us to sit here and do nothing? I'm sorry.
Cece, you seconded that, right?
Yes, I did.
All right, what else do we have to, on old business here? Sunshine Hills Water Project, I don't know that we need any.
Not a whole lot going on with that, is
No.
there?
Stoneville Estates, anybody have any?
Yeah. I don't know what everybody's opinion is of this grinder pump. I'm kinda concerned about what their proposal is.
Over the pump station.
Yeah, the pump station.
Well, you know, we've got pump stations
I understand. I
at
don't-
various other places, I mean, it's not like you can
Yeah,
just
I'm not saying
outlaw a
I
pump
dis-
station.
I'm not saying I disagree with it. And
Okay.
evidently, they must have talked to Mr. Crick.
I don't know, he didn't, I don't know, if they talked to Mr.
From what I understand, that's the information I've been seeing,
Right.
communications. So Mr. Crick must be in agreement with this too, because evidently it's gonna.
Well, I guess the big question is, can the Alliance handle it in Sunshine Hills?
Well,
properly?
the concern I have is, it probably will. Okay, say it does. Those 8-inch lines with the increased capacity still go down and tie into Market Street.
Well, that's quite, yeah, is that?
Okay.
Yeah,
So, at the present moment, if I'm not mistaken, that goes down Eisenhower side.
well, that was my question
Am
too.
I right? So that goes down Eisenhower.
Well, it goes down two different places, I think. doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes down that, and then it goes down the other side, down to the flow meter.
Right,
But the other side goes down through Eisenhower and jumps down across and goes down through the Fritz, am I right?
by who?
Down Fritz, by the Catholic Church and down through.
Yeah, probably.
I think we do. I think the one other line goes down.
Probably
Fritz.
does.
Oh, yes,
It's
sir.
got to,
It
yeah.
got to.
Got to.
It goes down Eisenhower and zigzag, zig, ding, 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 down over past the Catholic Church and right on down in.
You have those 9, 10, and 11 are your manholes along Lincoln Street.
Okay.
So it's actually three different areas where it goes into the,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But the other one, two of them, were going down the flow line, I think, to the flow meter on,
Butcher Shop Road, or the.
yeah, whatever you wanna call it there, the dairy bar thing, the dairy bar,
Yeah, yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
But then there's some that goes down Fritz Street, if I'm not mistaken, because that goes up the way, if I'm not mistaken,
Mhm.
okay? So what I'm trying to say is, the capacity issue could still exist
Well,
until
yeah.
we get Market Street done, which,
Well, we need to get some information from Duncan,
Okay.
bottom line.
but
Yeah.
it's
okay.
still going into Market Street, no matter where we look at it, it's still dumping into Market Street.
Okay. CDBG, I don't know, there's no update there, I don't know of anything.
No, but if you take a look, you'll see our engineers communicating with them and billing us for it. Okay? Oh, other thing with old business,
But,
Susan, is Mr. Morrison still up on his monies to pay for the engineer?
Oh, but I told you when you were in here, I sent him a new bill.
Okay, my
He,
question,
he had $1,300 in his account, then he got a bill for, the engineer sent a bill the next day, for enough to put him down to 300.
Oh,
So I have sent him a copy of all the invoices and asking him, but since then now we got another bill from Dennis for 100 and something, so his escrow is down to
he's
What?
down to 100 bucks.
187. He has been asked to
okay, but
replenish it.
what I'm getting at is, we ought to be getting another bill from the engineer real shortly for inspection services. We're gonna soon have to cease and desist.
Well, we're gonna
all
have to,
work on site.
how about if I call the engineer and tell him, oh geez,
You see what I'm getting at?
yeah, with $135 left in the
He's
account.
in the hole, Rev. He's in our pocket right now,
Yes, he is.
okay?
And
So
that's,
we need to stop doing engineering work, anything pertaining to the engineer, to Mr. Morrison. Until he pays up.
can you add that in the letter to Mr. Bunt?
I can.
yeah, I think you better do.
Because, yeah, he is down to $130. Now, it was less, he had more than that when I wrote him the letter. And then I got your bill, but for 100 and
So I
something.
guarantee it costs more than $180 for the inspector to be there for the day.
So I should contact the engineer and tell him no more work until he hears from us. So then you aren't gonna know what's happening up there.
He's got till the 18th, because he ain't got nothing, he can't do nothing without an inspector. And he's not gonna do nothing from our meeting date till the 21st. Do you wanna prove me wrong?
Oh, you mean Mr. Morrison? No.
As soon as he knows that he's got left loose for 21 days, or for 14 days, he's not gonna do anything. Now he's gotta come up with money for the engineer in 14 days. He needs to replenish his escrow.
Yeah, I wish I'd have thought about that when Randy was here. Thank you for bringing that up.
That's really not Randy's business, that's more our business as far as I'm concerned,
It really is.
you know?
Yeah, I know, but you don't want him inspecting
You know,
anything.
I
somebody
understand that,
need to
but
communicate.
our discussion is amongst us, and we can always forward him a letter or an email or whatever to cease and desist until we move on.
So should I call him and tell him that?
You can call him, send him an email, as far as documentation, I don't care how you do it.
But tell him to wait until at least the 21st. Is that what you're saying?
For them, sir, he's in,
Well, unless he gets it replenished,
Okay.
or you'll know when it's.
Until he hears from us.
go here's from him.
Okay.
Because explain to him, ask him how much the bill was for his inspection.
What's that?
Ask him how much the bill was for inspection. It's probably over the money. He's on the negative of us right now.
Yeah.
Okay? And everything's supposed to go, what, once it's down to 300?
I think so, it says in there somewhere, yeah.
Everything's supposed to what?
He is supposed to replenish when it gets below some number.
Below 500.
500.
And that happened almost over, one day he has 1,300 and then I get a bill from the engineer and
Yeah. So he's.
when you
he's in-
sign the check tonight, effectively, he's down to that amount.
Well, I'm gonna have to make sure, that's an urgent problem.
Mhm.
That's urgent now, right?
That needs,
Yeah,
that
he
needs
needs
to
to-
be
he needs to-
addressed now.
Yeah.
I mean, he cannot get us to come, we can't put anybody on site until he pays the bill. So it don't matter how many people he's got standing around work-wise, he can't do nothing. So he better figure out how to schedule his money.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I understand now. Mr. Morrison can't do anything either until the inspector's there.
Yeah.
And the inspector can't go and do anything.
The job is shut down because there ain't no inspector.
Okay.
Okay, we talked about these Myers pumps already, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Done. New business?
We're gonna table that one till,
Oh, is that this thing for the
Yes.
one?
Mr. Beamer.
Table.
God,
Don't you want to discuss that some more,
I'm
Dennis?
begging you,
Just,
don't let him go back over this for another. I will explode. You'll find little pieces of me everywhere in the room. He said at least 5 or 6 times or more that they didn't clean out that thing right. It's just,
he had Karen on the phone for 45 minutes the other day. She couldn't-
you gotta get past that. We can't let him tie you up like
No, that's what I told her.
that. Yeah.
okay.
Amendment to Articles 8, the general restrictions on monthly discharge, what's that all
Well, I
about?
think
This here,
In the
this
packet.
here, down, there you go, draft number 2.
Oh, here we go.
Well, that would cover it, right? That covers the transfer back to somebody who,
The only problem is you need to look at, make sure we're allowed to
Well, I
transfer
need-
them back.
yeah, I need to look at the issue that was raised here at the meeting. I don't think that's a problem.
I don't think there's a problem, I really don't.
If that's the case, we've got a problem because we've had some people who have bought houses that we've told them that they now own it.
I don't think that's a problem. I'd be, there might be something in those documents somewhere that says something like, the authority shall not, transfer anything that would affect their ability to pay back the loan without the approval of Penn. It might say something like that, but this is such a
All right,
small.
I can't
the private
imagine
home
them getting
itself is
involved
not a
in something
revenue
like this.
generator.
Yeah.
It's one of them things that was part of the package, it got installed, and it was over with. I mean, the idea is in theory, everybody thought it was free, but they're paying for it, $60 a month, plus your tapping fees, they're paying for it. I mean, sooner or later,
I'm not too concerned.
I'm not either. It was part of,
All right.
All right, what do you want to do about this,
What are we doing?
about this one?
We're going to
Dennis, did you take?
I did take a look at it, yeah, I thought it looked all right.
look already, or do you need time to review it?
No, I did look at it.
So we need a motion?
Yep.
So we want to make a motion.
I'll make a motion, we adopt it.
You want a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No opposed.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea, because what did concern me a little bit would be this idea of selectively turning back pumps to somebody, but this covers you, and if you do it, it's gonna be after the adoption of this, so
All right.
you're covered.
All right, we got, you can
I'm
endorse.
not sure he really wants that. I'm not sure he's sure what he
He
wants.
wants the money, he wants somebody. to
He thinks he
pay
can do it cheaper than we can, and I can tell you what, I'm sorry.
for it.
But, oh well.
And I think he was looking at just the procedure, I didn't know how to take them out. Well, yeah, that's,
He can pull them out all he wants. Okay.
We discussed the engineers list. We need a motion for
Nope,
adjournment.
not yet.
Oh,
Henlon told me that Henry's term will be up this year.
Henry.
So at some point, you have to decide whether or not you want to stick around for another 5 years. You're done in whatever, February, January, whenever we do it. Is that-
You mean to tell me 5 years went by already?
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
lies when you're
Send a
not.
letter
I didn't realize I aged that much.
So once we know, they need to know by their January meeting, by their reorganization meeting, so that they can appoint him, okay? So next month, we have to take action on it,
Do we need to send a letter to the supervisor?
to the supervisors.
Okay.
It's incredible.
So that would have to be next month, unless he wants to, unless you want to say right now you're willing to stay on, then we'll have Karen send that letter.
Well, they may not want me.
Oh, yes, we do.
Do they need a motion for him to stay on?
I would, well, it doesn't necessarily have, I think I would. think
I
it's
don't
better.
have a problem.
There'd be a
with
motion
it.
to recommend
Right.
reappointment, yeah, I think
Okay.
it's cleaner to do it that way.
Let's do that.
That'll just about get me to retirement.
I guess I better make a motion.
Yes.
Okay. Make a motion, we send a letter to the supervisors to reinstate,
Recommend reappointment.
recommend reappointment.
I'll second that.
Mr. Hall.
I'll second
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
that. Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I abstain.
5 years to us all.
You can't.
No, don't
Hey, we can't do
discriminate.
this, you can't.
And the other thing I have is 2014 budget. I have gotten down to the point now where I've got the expenses figured out, except for, I need to sit down with Ed and Sam. I'm hoping to do that next week, and that will take care of all the stuff being filled in, at which time I can get this to you.
What are you talking about now?
Well, we have to have the budget approved in December because of him. It's his fault. So at next month's meeting,
That's a good thing, ain't it?
we got to approve this budget, and I'm just telling you that I still have blanks because I don't know how much it's going to cost for sludge disposal.
Sludge disposal.
Now, what I need from you guys for next month is what you want put in for capital reserve. You know, what you want budgeted, what you think some big things are that we're going to need. So, that's all. I know we have the 50,000 that we have to budget for the new manholes, the next section. The next.
Market Street.
Market Street,
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. And we have 200,000 set aside for your water things.
Sunshine Hills Water.
And if we get the grant, we're in good.
I hope we get the grant.
Do we have anything, did you up things for, UNM of Duncan?
I haven't done anything with that yet because we're 31,000 over the hole. We're over budget by 31,000, but that's because of all those upgrades that we paid for this year.
That's what I'm getting at. I mean, you may want to consider putting another, from what we budgeted last year, put another 2025 one in. If we're high, we're high. I just would sooner be a little bit on the safer side than on the, you know what I'm trying
Okay,
to
so
say?
you think there might be more upgrades?
This is, it's gonna nickel dime us all the way.
Okay,
It's not one of them things that, let's face it, if we put 25 in, Duncannon's got 50 in, so it's $75,000. $75,000 for a treatment plant that size ain't much.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're not, I think that's a reasonable number, you know what I'm trying to say? Since and that's what they've done. We've all held back on this thing till it got paid off, and now trying to get it cut back up for the repairs, because everybody was busting their fannies to pay for it. Now it's time to maintain it.
You're gonna have another budget in the red again, but,
You're gonna have to, that wouldn't drive it, it would be in the red,
oh yeah, it always is.
but that wouldn't necessarily drive a rate increase.
No, we're not gonna go for a rate increase.
Yeah, so
No, but it's not-
You may have to massage the numbers a little bit.
Well, no, we've always approved them with a expenses being greater than whatever.
Did you have reserve?
Because we have, you know, you can always put that from capital reserve, you know, and we just don't.
We've had them pretty close though, some years, I mean, they're close to, I mean, we've not been, a lot of them years have been very,
Well,
very.
last year, the actual, we were negative 39,000.
What year before?
We were negative 25. Now that's by the auditors. Okay, that was the actual. But see, you dropped those rates. When you drop rates, $5, that carries on forever and ever. And also, well, yeah, we're still pulling that 8,800 out, and I'd
Well,
like
yeah.
to keep pulling out that 8,800, but if you had to, you could, well,
Yeah, but the capital improvements are important right now.
yeah, capital
I mean,
improvements are real important, so.
We have no choice but to keep going in that direction for the time being, because,
Till we get the day things, you know, up to snuff.
well, there's 5 years worth of that money up in the hill. Yeah, if it stops at that. You see what I'm saying? That's after the completion of the big part.
Oh, no, you mean
For the long-term plan, that's just like, don't forget,
for the
don't.
water lines.
Yeah, don't forget the long-term planning that Sam Scott out there running around somewhere on the.
Yes, it's,
Yeah.
Okay? Keep that in the back of your mind. If anybody needs a copy or something, say something to Susan or whatever, send it back out if you can't find it, whatever, but I think I can find mine back through the system somewhere.
yeah, he just sent a new one out a month ago.
Yeah, it's out there, we need to take a good look at it. That's gonna have a lot of impact on our budget plan too, you know, make sure we're not missing nothing. Because that's the only thing that us as board members can turn around and put on her budget that's gonna change it. There you got, yeah, they're pretty good with what they got, I've always been happy with
I'll take that along.
Sam, Ed, and you guys do a pretty good job on that. The other thing, I was talking to our operator, and he had a dilemma of where his jib was bent to the point that the treatment plant doesn't want to work anymore, so I took it to work, fixed it, we had to fix it the other night. And I guess it works, but anyhow, in that discussion, he's explained to me that the odor control is not using near as much chemical as what he had projected.
Oh, that's good.
Actually, the pumps themselves are just about too big for the flow rate that he's putting into it. He might have to go to a smaller injector pump, which kind of surprised me.
So that's working out well.
He's very, very happy with the distance, seems to be idea, everything seems to work well. Like he said, the chemical treatment he is doing is, he's got the pump set as low as he can go, and he says it's that slow that the pump actually wants to quit on him. He has to. So he's probably going to try to go to another pump, and they're just little, little cheap little things. I don't know if you've ever been in that building yet or not, but he's happy with it, the end result. And I explained to him one time I had caught a little bit of an odor going up 11:15 one night. It just hung up through, late evening, temperature change, everything else. He says, yeah, he said that pump down there is too big for what it's doing. It hung up for a little bit. And when it hangs up, it takes a day or so for me to catch it back up and get it, because it got that distance. It has to push it, it has to affect that. So it's working. So, and the chemical costs are going to be down on that too. So, sounds like it's been well worth the deal.
Something that was very much needed.
I was just something that we casually got talking about as we were there.
Good, that's good.
And he's got a couple other projects that he wants me to do, and we keep procrastinating. One of these days we're just gonna drop it and do it. When I see him at each treatment plant, when I see him come up by, I stop in and
Okay.
say,
Yes, sir.
Henry, you should sit down and try to sell Mr. Beamer that property down there. That was the deal. But when you sit down and talk to him again, is it possible to get a sample of what's coming into that pump? That you can come up with some kind of guidelines in that?
I guess if I get Sam to get down there and dig a chunk of it out, the next time it comes in, I don't know what it is. It's almost.
That's what I mean, is the way it's for it to come back at him, it must be a residue left in the line back to the house, maybe catching up with him.
Or, I mean, if you take powdered soap and dump it in, it washes its way, because all over, but once it falls into there, and the pump don't pump for a half a day or something like that, it gets a chance to coagulate in there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Powdered soap.
That's what he
Grease.
seemed to think it was soap.
Powdered soap and grease is two of the worst things that,
There's something working against
Yeah.
the whole system, and maybe when you sit down and talk to him again, and have some understanding that you get.
yeah, I mean, I sympathize with the man for what he's got to do, but
Dennis, you
he
can speak to him about that.
himself does not even understand what those people could be dumping in. And they probably can't tell the truth what's going on, you know? But he's the only one that we
No,
have
the new
problems
bill,
with.
Right.
The one that he wants relief.
Yeah, you're not getting that out of the businesses or anything else.
And you're not getting it out of other
Oh.
people that have washing machines and dumping stuff in and everything else. There's a lot of other houses around here that
$3,830.
got grinder pumps and everything in and
It's
got
enough to
dishwashers
come into a meeting and.
everything else, and I'm sure none of them got dishwashers. I can't imagine that. He said one wash machine.
Hey, adjourn, and then
All right,
talk. Adjourn and then
Who's
talk.
gonna make a motion?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Anybody got a second it?
I guess I'll second that.
You don't need me for that.
We have a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm sitting here thinking he's probably coming in here.
Did you sign the checks?
No, I
It's not a
didn't.
couple
I
hundred
will.
bucks.
Yeah, it's a couple thousand.
Henry, you got the checks there to sign?
Yep, they're already signed.
Where's my
They're,
Stamp
Well,
it.
Sam's got them, but,
Right?
all right, there is a key somewhere. He told Karen where it was. Let me see if I can find the key to the
All
box.
right, either that or I gotta,
You start signing them a while and I'll
All
see what
right.
I can find.
3,837.